Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. Here to help you break through fear and live an awesome life. Isn't YouTube wonderful? It's free. All right. We're back to the Master Key System by Charles F. Haanel. I think that's a Finnish name. So is mine. My family's from Finland. All right. Ooh, what? They use some big words in here. Wow. Oh. All right, so part 16 is looking a little complex. All right, wow, okay, I might have to go to chapter 18. You know, they get a little bit wordy here. It's like, this thing was written, I don't know if you're familiar with this. This thing was written like, I don't know, well over 100 years ago. The church banned it. The church banned this book. Why? It tells people that they have the power to create anything. I mean, unlimited. It was like, whoa, don't be telling anybody. That's why I told you, fear is based on the powers that be that control people with it. So the more they instill fear in us, the more that they control or feel that they can control us. We don't have to believe that story anymore. The problem is we have that energy with us that's been passed down, that comes along with collective consciousness. People still believe that garbage. All right, so this is chapter 17. I might have to skip around on these. All right, so we're told that man has dominion over all things. Dominion over, not some things, all things. This dominion is established through mind. This whole book is the power of the mind. What is the mind? The mind creates the energy, the messages out into the cosmos based on its beliefs, its thoughts, its feelings. The mind is not the brain. The mind is that thinking consciousness that contributes to your energy and mine because it is all one thing. Mind is one thing. Thought is the activity which controls every principle beneath it. Dominion over all things, the activity which controls every principle beneath it is thought. Thought. Wow, that's scary, isn't it? Think about this. No pun intended. Your thoughts, everything comes from that. You have dominion over everything, and all of it comes from thought. Why? Thoughts come from beliefs. That's why it's so important for us to be open with our beliefs and be able to change those, because then our thoughts will change, thus our feelings. The highest principle, by reason of its superior essence and qualities, necessarily determines the circumstances, aspects, and relations of everything with which it comes in contact. Okay. The vibrations of mental forces. There are vibrations. This is energy. So they're talking energy. Now back then, you know, they wouldn't say quantum physics, but this is quantum physics. In other words, they're saying there's an energy, there's a vibration. This is why when people meditate, they do the and they're connecting to a frequency. And that has power. There's a frequency that goes through your body. Your thoughts create a frequency. All right? So don't be afraid. Sometimes people are like, something's in the room. It's the shadow people. It's like, I must be on a lower frequency. No. Maybe you're opening up the gateways and those frequencies just happen to be there. They won't hang around unless you lower yourself to the frequency, and then they become a problem. The vibrations of mental forces are the finest and consequently the most powerful in existence. Whoa! To those who perceive the nature and transcendency of mental force, all physical power sinks into insignificance. All right? All physical power sinks into insignificance. compared to the mental force. Does that make sense to you? So people that are forcing things, wars, or pushing things, or if I do this enough, I can make this happen, is the physical world. All the force in the world has no power over the mental capabilities when they are being used in the most clear, powerful way. That means you got to really, truly be on that level of thinking, right? You got to really believe everything. So you've heard, like in the Bible, like, masses of armies up against, a handful of guys, and they beat the crap out of them. How's that possible? They're coming from a completely different place, and it wasn't about weapons and manpower. They had the force of the mental capabilities and beliefs behind them that made it happen. We are accustomed to look upon the universe with a lens of 5 senses. So this is where we get caught up in, well, how's that possible? And then there's this limiting thinking because you're so in the physical world that you're not connected. That's why I want to have you guys meditate. I have you push your energy out and imagine that you are everything in this room. You are everything. And so you stop thinking about your body and me, and I can't meditate or whatever. Like, you're pushing yourself out and you're sort of connecting to the cosmos and everything. You start to feel that. You start to connect to that vibration. And you realize you are not this. Okay, so the 5 senses from which our conceptions originate, but true conceptions are only secured by spiritual insight. The real ones come from your spiritual insight. This insight requires a quickening of the vibrations of the mind, raising your frequency, and is only secured when the mind is continuously concentrated in a given direction. Ooh, there's that focus. So let's talk quantum physics. So you can't be scattered all over the place, and this is why the vision boards and thinking about things, those techniques just support what's really going on. That vision board doesn't make it happen. The candle that you light doesn't make it happen. It's the thoughts and the beliefs and the focus behind it, of letting go, and the focus behind it and of raising the frequency is knowing it is done, relaxed about it, not freaking out about it. So a lot of people, why isn't it happening? I'm focusing, I'm doing all these things. You're doing the techniques, but it's the power, the mental power behind it that's going to make it happen. If you know it is done and you're relaxed and you are focused on that, you're very clear about it. You see it. When you see it and you've got questions and you're like not really believing it or whatever, you're not on the right track. So you've got to get those beliefs and clear out that stuff beforehand, because that message that you're sending out is having an effect, keeping it away from you, right? Continuous concentration means an even, unbroken flow of thought and is the result of a patience. I'm not good at that. Persistent. People give up all the time. I see it in my internet training. Yay, this is great, this is great. Well, I'm not making money overnight. Go buy a lottery ticket or 5 billion. It's the result of a patient, persistent, persevering, and well-regulated system. In other words, get yourself in check. You can't be believing it some of the time. You have to believe it all the time. You have to be focused and know and relax and know it all the time. That's why people are like, what are you talking about? Just relax and let it go. I'm like, I didn't say that you didn't have it in mind or that you're not focused. I'm saying release it. Know it's done. You don't have to keep trying to bring it into your, reality. It's done. So every once in a while, I'm up in my goals. Of course, I always keep up in my goals. So next month I have a goal. And I've seen that number in my head. I already hit the first one, by the way. Almost to the cent. So this one I've got in my head, and I just see it once in a while. I've released it. I'm like, I know it's done, but like every once in a while I just see that number in my head. And I see it on the paper that it shows up on at the end of the month. That's a focus. I know it's done. I'm not going, ooh, or worrying about it. I'm like, okay, it's done, and I see it. I earned it. So it's a reality that I know exists, and I'm switching into that reality. Great discoveries are the result of long continued investigation. I tell you guys this all the time. Action, action, action. Cannot visualize and sit on your duff. If you've ever seen my ads, you know that I say like, ooh, I'm going to manifest. Like, no, you got to get off the couch and go do something and make it happen. You are the person that can make it happen, so nobody else is going to do that for you. The science of mathematics requires years of concentrated effort to master it. And the greatest science, that of the mind, is revealed only through concentrated effort. Now, when they say years, you're manifesting all times. You can master this now. But mastering, when they say mastering, truly being a Christ-like manifester, healer, would take years. It took years for Christ. He had a lot of training. He did a lot of training with all kinds of religions and even Eastern religions and meditation, all these other things. He did a lot of training. So he is a human being, even though he was this perfect, enlightened being, had the human transition to go through. He experienced anger and doubt and all the things that humans do. He had to go through that to master it before he could show us how to. He can't just come down and be this perfect thing and go, hey, you guys need to, come on, you experience it. And he did. He experienced ultimately every single possible thing that we could even imagine experiencing and mastered it. So it takes years, yes, but you can start today manifesting things. And as doubts come through, as you'll start catching yourself not being that awakened person, stuff will show up and you go, okay, I still have to work on that. And you continue to work on it and you go, okay, doubts come through. I need to work on that. So that's the years of happening. So I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do this for years. It's like, yes, of course, you're doing it now. A lot of you are experiencing this instant manifestation like I am. I'm open to it. But like I said, I have things that show up that I go, whoa, okay, that's part of being human that we'll probably always have to deal with. But I don't have to react to it. And that's the discipline, training, and practice that we need to do every day of every moment. You catch yourself. What am I thinking right now? I'm going to choose a different thought if you don't like it. Is it negative? I'm going to choose a different thought. Are you thinking bad about somebody? Blessings to that person. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I send light and love. Please help me to move past my judgment of others. I know that they are beautiful light beings like I am. It works. Okay. Concentration is much misunderstood, right? I told you guys, I got to focus on this. There seems to be an idea of effort or activity associated with it, when just the contrary is necessary. Now, they're not talking about not taking action and doing things and experiencing a journey. They're talking about the mental part. People think that they have to do the lighting the candle and all this stuff. You don't have to. That's why I said release it. No, it's done. And it's people like, why? I should be like focusing on it. No, it's saying right here, effort or activity associated with it is not necessary. The greatness of an actor lies in the fact that he forgets himself in the portrayal of his character. Total belief. Totally on board. Becoming so identified with the audience is swayed by the realism of the performance. This will give you a good idea of true concentration. You should be so interested in your thought, not worried about it, not trying to make it happen, so engrossed in your subject as to be conscious of nothing else. Such concentration leads to intuitive perception and immediate insight into the nature of the object concentrated upon. So you become one with the thing you're envisioning. Now, did I sit and think about my passport like all day and everything and, had it show up in a few days instead of a few weeks? which I was told it would take 4 to 6 weeks. I got it here in 7 days. I said, it's going to come in 7 days. Day number 7, go to the mailbox, it's there. I did see it all the time. Like I was just saying, my number for my next month goal, I keep seeing it. So it's there. I'm focused on it, right? All knowledge is the result of concentration of this kind. So you get to know it. You get to become it. It is thus that the secrets of heaven and earth have been wrestled. It is thus that the mind becomes a magnet, and the desire to know draws the knowledge. This is you connecting to the collective consciousness. Irresistibility attracts it, makes it your own. You become so at ease with what you're focused on. You know it's done. You feel good about it. It's like you start to get excited. It's so irresistible that all is attracted to. That vibration, that frequency that they're talking about, you are the frequency, then you become it. And it's actually exciting. Like I'm like, oh, I can't wait till that goal is achieved. The subconscious mind may be aroused and brought into action in any direction and made to serve us for any purpose. This is why people like Hitler have been able to accomplish their goals. They used the same stuff, but they chose through free will to connect to a negative level. And we're connecting to all the others on that lower frequency who would join him, right? And he used it for very destructive purposes. But he had to connect to all those people out there to inspire them to act on the negative intentions and focus he had. And so he was very good at getting people to focus on it with his speeches and his reasoning and using the emotions of pride and what's right and convincing them in an egotistical standpoint, using that unseen force of manifesting, totally focusing on it. He totally believed it. And he thought he was doing the right thing in his low density. It made perfect sense to him. He never questioned himself. He never questioned his beliefs and what he was doing. I'd like to think he did, but probably not. Okay, so I'm going to sort of leave off there because we're going to pick up on this. So the practice of concentration requires the control of the physical, mental, and physical being. So again, you don't sit on your duff. All modes of consciousness, whether physical, mental, or physical, why is it saying physical, mental, or physical again? Must be under control. Under control. You're not all over the place. I want to, so I doubt it. Oh, you can't do it, you know. You have this little thing going on in your head. Spiritual truth is therefore the controlling factor. It is this which will enable you to grow out of limited attachment and reach a point where you will be able to translate modes of thought into character and consciousness. Limited attachment. So that's that whole physical being, doubting, not focused, physical world, thinking you're limited. You've got to let that go. Every probability exists for you right now. Everyone. There are no limits. You can actually change realities. Now be careful with that. Don't be like, you don't know what's going to come with some of the things you're wishing for if you're focused on the material world. And if you're focused on higher vibrations and purpose, all of the abundance in that is there in that place anyways. And then those things that you truly do desire that are going to hold true importance to you from a joyful place in this world of having abundance, having a beautiful home if that's what you want, or traveling a lot if that's what you want, or whatever's important to you at that point is going to be very different if you're focused on the higher frequencies and your spiritual connection rather than the material world, because that will never make you happy. That's that all knowledge. When you connect to all knowledge, everything's there. It's so joyful. You disconnect from the material world, and yet that's when the floodgates open, because it no longer is what you're looking to make you happy. You are connected to all that is, that higher frequency. which is what we came here to reconnect with, that we are. We actually never lose a connection. We just sort of need to remember it again. And we need to want it. We need to desire to be there again. And a lot of what we came here for is to experience this. Being human, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to experience loss and put that in its proper place. Somebody was saying, I was just saying, yeah, well, I was saying, when traumatic stuff, seemingly traumatic stuff happens, huge doorways are opening for you. And so I said, I went through it. I said, I had divorced, lost the huge house. Well, I didn't lose it. I moved. And and it was no longer a part of that life. And then, quit my 25-year investment banking career. My mom, my dog, my dad, my brother, my cousin all died, like one right after another, suddenly, by the way. No long illnesses. And it was like, what is going on? Guess what? I switched a reality into a life that I would have never gone after over here. I switched. So when you go for that and you make a decision, may have made agreements in advance, you will switch tracks into a completely new reality. And that means stuff may go away that could be painful, and then sit with it. And somebody said, oh my God, you must have been so sad. It was traumatic. I said, it wasn't. I know this sounds weird. None of it was. Was I sad, of course, to lose my parents and my brother? Of course. Yes, I cried. Not a lot. I just don't think of them as gone. I just think of us as always transitioning. I just know I can talk to them. I just don't get to hear back from them. My mother was very funny, by the way. And so I'm not going to get her jokes. She's not that funny on the other side, by the way. I don't know why, but she's really happy. Yeah, we hang out once in a while. We have a lot of fun, but yeah, she's not as funny. I'm gonna have to talk to her about that. So I just don't feel the loss that people do. That's that detachment of the material world in a positive way, where it doesn't control your happiness. When a relationship ends, yay! Yay! By the way, it was not traumatic for me in it or out of it. It was all good. It would have been, for a lot of people, it's easy to leave bad relationships. I didn't even have a bad relationship. And I was fine with it. In fact, I was really fine with it. To be really honest with you, I was really, really fine with it. I was like, oh, my new life can start, because I knew staying there was going to really restrict myself, that I was doing, by focusing in that whole relationship and everything that went on there. I couldn't possibly go do the things I'm doing now. So don't miss that. Don't miss the ability to let go of things to get that new life, and know that that might be required. So be very clear about what you want. You don't know what that's going to bring. And I guarantee you it's going to require that you lose friends, possibly, certain things that you're doing now. You might move. A lot of it will be very good, by the way. Some of it will appear to be negative and isn't at all. And when you find out later, you're like, whoa. Like where I am, it's like, wow, this is like awesome. I have everything I want. Always. Always. It always shows up. Always. Did I tell you guys my latest one, my Tiffany bracelet? I've always really admired this beautiful Tiffany silver bracelet. You girls probably know what I'm talking about. Not the heart. I wanted the round one. I actually went into Tiffany's and looked at the round one years ago and thought, I really love this, but it's expensive. I don't wear jewelry, very rarely. So I really couldn't justify it. Not that I buy cheap stuff, but if I'm going to spend money on something, could I have gone out and bought it anytime I wanted? Yeah. So I see one for sale that is in a box. It's never been worn. I found out it was part of something that this person earned through her workplace. And so they give out these expensive gifts. And she already had one. So it wasn't even a relationship. It wasn't. I thought maybe it was a relationship. She got a gift and the boyfriend broke up. That would have had a negative energy. I found out that wasn't it at all. It was a very positive thing. She kept reducing the price, reducing. So I contacted her recently. I said, "Is that bracelet still for sale?" She said, "Yeah." So I gave her an even cheaper bid, and she and I negotiated something pretty low. Amazing, like seriously, 1/10 of the price of it. I went and got cash, walked over there, got my bracelet. I went, this is one of those things that was out there that I haven't been thinking of that showed up. So I want you to remember, there's no such thing as time. So even things that you've desired for a while back, you even forgot about, may start showing up and you're going, oh my gosh, I wanted that years ago. I didn't even think of it, and it shows up. Why? Those gateways are opening that when you go to that higher frequency, the material things will start to show up because it's just fun. Not because you need it for happiness. It's just fun. It's like, oh, I got this cool little bracelet. It's fun. I love the material world. It's a blast. But it doesn't have to rule you. So I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is an awesome book. Look at how thin it is. You will have to read a chapter, like, seriously, 2, 3, for me, 5 times each chapter. It's so wordy and complex. It's like one sentence, you have to sit with it. Sort of like Course in Miracles. Oh, I've never read it. I couldn't get through the first chapter. It's like, what the? So when you're ready for it, the thing so some of you may buy it and go, oh, and then you'll pick it up like in a few months and go, wow, this makes perfect sense. I recommend it. It's just awesome. Warren Buffett, Brad Pitt, well, that's debatable, Bill Gates, on and on and on and on have read this book, and it was, up until not that long ago, was banned, and you couldn't even find a copy of it. And they found a copy of it, and somebody was distributing it, put it back in print, I think, in Silicon Valley. And people had this like little secret thing reading this thing that's powerful, way before The Secret and all this other stuff. And The Secret is so focused on materialism. This is not. This is about really creating an awesome life and vibrating at a higher frequency and creating this reality that you want. You can do it. Okay, you ready? Start doing it. Get rid of the doggone fear. Well, don't get rid of it. Recognize it. Be done with it. Please be done with it. It's not working for you, is it? All right, so me and the Master Key System are going to take the rest of the day off. And I'm sending you light, love, health, wealth, abundance, peace, and joy, because you're whole and perfect and strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. That is from the Master Key System. That's why I use that. It's if I made up a mantra, it'd be different than that. So make up your mantra, whatever works for you, because this is your life and you get to create whatever you want. Namaste.